guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since we last chatted. My name is Gene. You are watching Lubed. This is the first episode of season 3 of Lubed. However, I'm not coming back full-time until October. That being said, you can always check me out on my other channel, and that's NHL Aftermath. That is a podcast I host with Sam Jackson every week, but it's just NHL based. It's not just on your favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers. Lots to talk about. How has your summer been? My summer has been extremely busy, as my mother has been moved into assisted living, so we had to sell the house, sell the car, remove all sorts of stuff from her house. But it's done. It's done. It's over with. I'm happy to say that is done, because that was actually, it's a lot that's involved with that kind of stuff. Those of you that have done it to your parents, I think you know where I'm coming from. That being said, it's also been very busy in Edmonton Oiler land in the last little while. That's why I am doing this episode tonight for you guys. It's a one-off. Like I said, I'm not going to come back until probably October, but due to the fact that we had free agency, we had a draft, we had the awards, there's a lot of discussion points for me to do an episode for you guys, and I want to dive right into that. The first note of business I want to take care of is a huge congratulations to Connor and Lauren as they got engaged a couple weeks ago. Like I said, most of this news you guys already know of. That's fine. I'm just going to give you my take and my feelings on certain things that happened in this last couple weeks. But a huge congratulations to Connor and Lauren. Also, a shout out to the boys, and I'm deeply saddened to hear that the team 1260 is no more in Edmonton. I used to listen to that radio station all the time. However, it is nice to see that some of you guys still have YouTube channels, and I watch you guys on YouTube, just like I'm hoping you guys watch me, but if you don't, that's fine too. But, you know, to see Jason Greger on Oilers Nation, or to see the oil stream, I watch that faithfully, Two Guys and a Goalie. So I watch all those channels. And I am saddened to hear that you guys lost your jobs. You guys did a fabulous job. I remember always having you guys tuned in when I lived in Edmonton, like I said. So some sad news on that part, some good news on Connor and Lauren getting engaged. We move on now to some Edmonton Oiler news. And we're going to start off with the awards here, as I have to say, like, and I said this yesterday on my my other channel with Sammy. Connor McDavid cleaned up, obviously. You know, he had a remarkable year. He's getting goals and assists and points like we haven't seen since the 80s, okay? Like when the defensemen were basically stick twigs. Now we're in an era where the elite of the world are the players in the NHL. So it's a hard league to get into. You have to be the best in the world to make it. And to see Connor McDavid making those guys look silly adds an extra little asterisk to his ability and that. And I want to dive into what happened on the Hart Trophy here, because I was very disappointed on one particular thing. There was a member of the PHWA, and I'm believing it's coming from the Pittsburgh Tribune and Review, but I don't want to issue out any names. If I'm incorrect on that, I do apologize. That voted. So the way this works is there was 196 votes for Connor McDavid on the Hart Trophy. 195 votes were first place votes. One person, and hey, I have no problem with that one person picking a different player. One person picked David Pastrnak for the first place vote, which is fine. I have no problem with that. However, that one person also put Connor McDavid in 5th place on that voting, and to me, that's where I say that's as a member of the media, you should not be doing that. That to me is almost that to me is like he had some kind of interaction with Connor McDavid that he didn't like, and he just threw him right to the back of the bus, because that to me is ludicrous. He does not deserve a fifth place vote. Second place, third place, fine. Even third places, actually even second places. When you got 195 people voting for him in first place, and there's only one person that votes fifth place, that's incorrect. That's not right. And that person, in my opinion, should lose the right to vote for next year, because it's silly. It's childish behavior on my behalf, on what I think. And you guys can reach out to me on that and what you feel about it, but I think that's crazy. So it breaks down that he had 1951 for points, 195 first place votes, no second, no third, no fourth, one fifth place vote. Next best was David Pastrnak with one first place vote, 109 second place votes, 42 third, 19 fourth, and 13 fifth. And I have no problem with Pastrnak being in that conversation, because, I mean, the Boston Bruins had an amazing season, let's face it, and he was a big factor of it. But my problem with this is not the fact that he got a clean sweep of 196, but it's the fact that he had one fifth place vote. Like, that's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's enough I have to say about that. Connor did clean up. He winning the Ted Lindsay and just all sorts of stuff. So I believe it's the Art Ross there. Yeah, so huge congratulations to Connor on that. Let's move on to the NHL draft that took place. Now, as you know, the Oilers had to give up their number one overall. Let me just get that title up there. They had to give up their number one overall to obtain Ekholm at the deadline last year, which I have no problem. He's a solid defenseman, and we have him locked up for a few years. No problem. The problem is when it comes to the draft, our first pick was number 56. So we're looking at the diamonds in the rough here. We're not looking at guys to be stepping up in the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 or 5 years of development. And they drafted Bo. Now, I may pronounce these names wrong. As you know, I have bad pronunciation of names, so I do apologize beforehand. But Bo Akey, he's a defense from the Barrie Colts, OHL, age 18. He's a right-hand shot, 6 foot, 174 pounds, so he's a slender dude. His hometown, Waterloo, Ontario. His stats last year were 11 goals, 36 assists in 66 games, 2 goals, 3 assists in 13 playoff games. So that was our number one pick or our 56th pick overall for that draft. Then we went down to Nathaniel Day. He's a goaltender from the Flint Firebirds, OHL. He's age 18. His catching hand is left. He is 6'2". He weighs 181 pounds. His hometown, Burlington, Ontario. His 22-23 stats are 17 wins, 10 losses in 32 games with an .874 save percentage, 391 goals against average. So obviously, he's a guy that is going to need a little bit of work before we can actually call him an Oiler, because those numbers aren't that good. We move on to the 7th round, where the Oilers select 216th overall, Matt Capone. He's a center from Mamaroneck College, age 20. He's a right-hand shot, 5'11", 174 pounds. His hometown is Mansfield, Massachusetts. His 22-23 stats are 14 goals, 15 assists, and 37 games. So, again, this is just diamonds in the rough. We hope that maybe one of these will turn into what could be like a Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan, from what I hear before he went into the NBA, He was not very good when he was selected. He turned into a super stud, as we know, and the rest was history. So let's hope we can maybe find one out of those guys there. Moving on to... Oops, one moment. Okay, moving on to who the Oilers signed and who they have lost. I'm going to get into it. Let me just get queued up here for this. There is a few farewells, and unfortunately, we are going to say goodbye to Kailer, Yamamoto, Klim, Koston, and Nick Bjugstad. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. However, we were able to sign Matthias Janmark for another year. We extended him with a $1 million annual AVV, or AAV. Then we were able to get Connor Brown. This is the big signing that we did. Connor Brown played with Connor McDavid back in Erie. So they are very familiar with each other. I think this is Holland actually signing a piece that he is trying to fill in Connor McDavid with. So we signed him. He's got an annual average of $4 million a year. However, the way they structured this contract is it's basically league minimum. I think it was $775 if I remember for the first year, and the rest is going to be out in payable bonuses going into the next year. So Holland doesn't have to worry about the money this year, as the cap only went up $1 million. And throughout Holland's term, it's only gone up $2 million in the 5 years that he's been running the Edmonton Oilers. COVID was a big factor, but yeah, they're expecting about a 5% increase going into next year for the salary cap. So we're going to finally start seeing some huge jumps because, yeah, we had to give up a few key players, and I'm going to get into that shortly. But yeah, so Connor Brown was signed. We move on to Lane Peterson. Let me just see his stats. So Lane Peterson here, we got him on a 2-year, one-way contract for $775,000. He comes from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Followed by Noel. Now, I'm probably going to butcher this one. Hoffenmeyer? No, Hoffenmeyer. We signed him to an entry-level contract yesterday. And then, finally, we signed... there's a couple, actually. We're circling back to Drake Caggiula. He's back as an Oiler. I was going to bring up his stats as an Oiler, but I did not get that. So he's back. He's signing a 2-year... I don't even have his stats on what he's signing for, but he is back with the Edmonton Oilers for another stint. And then I have also Gleason to a 2-year, 275 entry draft deal. 425 will be in the minors, and yeah, so it's a 2-year. It's a one-way on the second year, from my understanding. And unfortunately, we are going to see the likes of Kailer, Yamamoto, and Klim, Koston as they are headed outbound, as well as Nick Bjugstad. Now, so the Oilers traded Yamamoto and Koston to the Wings for future consideration. So basically what that means is it's a cash dump, 100% cash dump. May be necessary to sign Bouchard and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of situation that Holland is in right now. That being said, with losing Bjugstad, I'm okay with Yamamoto. I know a lot of you guys like Yamamoto, but I think he lost a step after his injuries that he took this year. I think he was still trying to fight through it because he is a tough tenacity kid. But I think those injuries took a toll on him. I'm hoping he does rebound, and I wish him all the best. As far as losing Koston and Bjugstad, we lost a lot of size here. And that, to me, is very concerning. Are the Edmonton Oilers going to be able to be as tough as they were throughout the last couple playoff years against LA, because we know how those series got very aggressive at times, very chippy, very gloves in the face. Now you're losing two of those huge bodies in Klim, Koston and Nick Bjugstad. Who's going to replace it? Are we going to ask Darnell to get in there again, our $9 million defenseman, and taking off the gloves? I don't know. Or Vander Kane. Like, I mean, that's the one thing. I think the Oilers actually took a bit of a step back, despite getting Connor Brown. I think Connor Brown's going to be a good fit, by the way. But I think they took a step back as far as the tough and tenacity goes. And you look at the opposite direction, the Maple Leafs, they're going right in that direction as they made a few signings of a few big boys there. So yeah, I'm a little concerned on how the Edmonton Oilers are going to be coming across this year. I'm hoping that they still will have that tenacity, will have that bite and be able to defend themselves, because McDavid and Draisaitl need that protection. We know that. We know that from previous years where other teams took liberties on those guys all the time. So I am a little bit concerned about what the Oilers are going to be doing going forward. Okay, let's go on to, okay. Oh yeah, and there's Nick Bjugstad. Right, he left as well. Let's move on to the next scene. Okay, that's it. We are wrapping this up. Just a reminder, guys, I do have a second channel that is NHL Aftermath. Feel free to join that. That's a brand new channel. That's all NHL exclusive. And it is, like I say, it's a podcast with my buddy Sam. Other than that, I think that's about it. I am looking forward to the NHL season. I was going to touch on the schedule tonight. I just didn't have time to bring that up. However, I will probably touch on it in early October when I do the next episode of LUBED. It's nice seeing you guys again. Thanks for being a subscriber. And to those of you who haven't watched, please subscribe if you like the content I bring. And as always, stay healthy, stay happy, stay hydrated. We will talk soon, guys. Have a great evening.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the